into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you. In the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to is it an impromptu stream? I don't know. Me and Jason said we were going to be streaming today. Unfortunately, Jason is busy, so I had an appointment at the hospital, so basically I was going to be late anyway, and I thought to hell with it. May as well do a stream tonight on my own, and here I am. And I thought I'd bring to the attention immediately, ironically it was Trigger Lips that kind of brought it to my attention, but the Premier League, it was confirmed at a Premier League club meeting today that while recognising a number of clubs are experiencing, COVID-19 outbreaks and challenges, it is the league's collective intention to continue the current fixture schedule where safety is possible. So basically we're going to continue with the same old nonsense that we've just seen over the past 2 weeks, basically. Let's get real here. I just think the best case scenario, in my opinion, would have been just cancel the Boxing Day fixtures, just get that done, give the teams a 10-day break or whatever it works out to be, and then go into the new year starting afresh, so to speak. without getting too political, I just think that it's something that we've all got to live with now, and we can't just be stopping everything over something that is just going to continue and continue and continue and continue. I've got my opinions on it all, and okay, you get extreme circumstances with, for instance, Chelsea, as an example, having 5, 6 players on the bench, 2 of them being goalkeepers. There are other examples, like with the games that have been postponed. Didn't Leicester say they had a load of players out, and yet when they played against whoever it was, they were at full strength? It's just going to go on and on and on, and it's just... I just think that, from my point of view, I think it should have just been given them a 10-day break, or whatever it worked out, 2-week break, I don't care, and then work out something. But you can't just factor in the Premier League. You've then got to feature... we got cup games, the Carabao, the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup this week. What's going to happen there? Chelsea are supposed to be playing. Well, against Brentford. How are they going to play? Brentford have got an outbreak. Chelsea have got an outbreak. Is that going to go ahead? You've then got the various other matches that are going to be taking place as well. Then you've got the Boxing Day matches, which are, Wednesday's the last set of fixtures, so that's 3-4 days later. It's just the whole thing's a joke, in my opinion. And yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how many games are then played out on Boxing Day. Of the 10 fixtures, I really do think Chelsea are going to cancel their matches versus Brentford and the Premier League game versus Aston Villa, who, funny enough, when I do the score predictor game, I'll be predicting Aston Villa to win that. Yep, Karma baby, you heard me here first. I will be expecting Aston Villa to win that. Gerrard's got some form. Chelsea are conceding goals. Aston Villa can score goals. That equals a win for Chelsea from my point of view. But anyway, that's near the by, as they say. I think that... do they say that, Steve-O? Don't think they do, mate. But I think there'll be at least 2 or 3 fixtures cancelled over the weekend, Boxing Day, specifically Sunday. It's just going to go on and on and on. And there are teams like Tottenham, who yesterday performed exceptionally well. Very, very impressed. It was the Tottenham that I knew from the Pochettino days, when they were doing really, really well. They looked absolutely fine, on fire. We'll get on with the matches in a minute. And they've got already 3 games postponed. I think Burnley, we've had 2 games postponed. Yeah, it was Aston Villa obviously this weekend and Tottenham. So then, and Watford, so that's 3 games. So 3 games, and we've got 3 games in hand as well. Where are you going to fit them in? I'm fully aware that Burnley don't have any cup games because we get knocked out in the first or second rounds. Tottenham, okay, they're not in the Europa League anymore, but they're going to qualify further down the line in the FA Cup, and I think they're still in the Carabao Cup. I don't have a clue. Don't really follow it, but in fact, I can't even bother to check. But yeah, I just think, where do you fit all these fixtures in? And then, you fast forward into this time next year when the World Cup's being played in Qatar. We have to cancel the season early. So, yeah, very, very, very peculiar times I'm finding this whole thing at the moment. And yes, like I said, I've just been up to the hospital, and obviously that's the highest risk you can be. And I just found it ironic that when the particular surgeon said to me, when she was checking out the areas that needed checking out, and she was like, right, you need to cough now and everything. I just coughed, and she was like, oh, you need to put your mask on. I'm thinking, well, that's great, but for the last 10 minutes I've been chatting to you without a mask on. Do you know what I mean? So me going, do you know what I mean? So, and like I say, I work in retail, and the things that I see that people do to protect themselves is comical. I find it just ridiculous that people are standing, before the shop opens, people are politely standing 2 metres apart from each other. And yet the second you open the door, they're charging forward, they're bashing their way through, swinging their arms around, touching each other. And you're like, well, hold on a minute. Oh, now hold on. It just makes me laugh, this whole situation at the moment. You know, from my perspective, I have worked through this in probably, again, a very high-risk job, if you want to call it a high-risk job. And because I work with hundreds upon thousands of people a day. And, you know, other than hospitals, like I say, I put myself high risk. And I got it, was it 6-7 months ago now? I caught it. And ironically, I was wearing a mask. My friend was wearing a mask. And I know for a fact I caught it off him. And he worked with me. Which I find highly ironic, and it knocked me out for 3 days or whatever. But again, I will just make this point, and I'll continue making this point. At the end of the day, this is a virus which no one knew about. No one knew how to treat it, so unfortunately, people did die. And yeah, it's just going to continue. It's almost, and it's just going to continue. Like I keep hearing on the radio, this advert regarding, 2 booster jabs. 2 booster jabs aren't going to be good enough anymore, so you got to go with your third. So when you have your third one, 3 booster jabs aren't good enough, you're going to have your fourth. You have your fourth one. 4 of it. When does it stop? When does this fucking... Oops. I love doing that. If Fozzie's here, which I doubt he is. If anybody here is an extra, I do that all the time. It's Daniel Radcliffe. And funny enough, on the Wernham blog, they were reviewing that episode yesterday, the Wernham blog episode of extras. And he's like... Sometimes someone says, that's demonetised. We don't take a penny from this. Any money we take goes into Discord, website, and the website is School Predictor. So yeah, but yeah, that 0.0000001p. I think for every 20 streams me and Jason do, we earn a penny. Think about that. Think about that. What was I talking about again? I can't even remember. Oh yeah, this whole thing. So yeah, where does it stop? And like I say with this, if they want to take it all seriously and everything, you're going to have to put in some form of protocol or whatever, but they're clearly not. They're just going to carry on with it as normal. And yeah, like I say, I'm not expecting that many games to be going ahead. Let's just say I reckon optimistically 8 go ahead. So I reckon 2 get cancelled. Worst case scenario. I mean, I think this weekend was worst case scenario, 6 being cancelled. Even though the Chelsea game should have been cancelled. So that should have been 7. Yeah, interesting. But all that aside, so I know Boona earlier on tagged me in a very funny tweet, actually. It was very clever, very sweet. Whoever did that edit, well done. Well done. And it was about me buying Ollie Watkins. But I actually had an exceedingly good game week. I didn't take any hits. I just did Ollie Watkins in. I did say that I kind of was considering Ramsdale in for a -4, but I didn't think he'd get a clean sheet, but I thought he may get like his usual 55,000 saves in a game, so that would make him look like he got a clean sheet. I predicted in the predictor game 4 points for Ramsdale. He got 2. And I watched the first half of that game, and Arsenal looked absolutely fantastic. They looked brilliant. Now, is it because Leeds are missing about 15 players? Again, I don't have a clue. But Arsenal looked on it. They just went at it out of the gates. They could have been 4 or 5-0 up by half time. I really enjoyed the match. The only kicker for me was, and we'll get on to size team in a minute, the only kicker for me was waking up the following day Then when I'm in the bathroom, I'm going, oh yeah, the Arsenal game. Let's see how it ended. 4-1. Brilliant. Oh, great. Rafinha scored. Meslier, 8 saves and a bonus point. And then I see Smith Rowe score. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? I've just gone and sold Smith Rowe because he never plays, and all of a sudden, he's not playing, comes off the subs bench and scored twice. I know Alex Vollo, for crying out loud, he captained him, put up a tweet, obviously dejected, that he flaming played him, and he still gets 12 points. Doubled, that is. So 6 times 2, doubled. You do the math. Lacazette, thank God he only got an assist. I mean, there was at one point, I think it was I don't know if it was the first goal or the second goal. I think it must have been the first goal he got the assist. I think. I can't remember now. It doesn't really matter. It has no relevance to this. But he got an assist. The only good thing for me was that, and I'm going to say it from this point of view, Jason had he bought in. Jason, we'll go on to Jason's team in a minute. He had a stinker. Oh, he's having the luck that I had. Basically, we're having equal luck. But as I can't remember if we discussed it off air on a members video or not. I can't even remember if we did it on stream. I really can't remember now. It doesn't really matter. I said to him though, the problem is that he's now in that chase mentality, and he's buying in players which are differentials, and he's also captaining players which are differentials to try and get into the top 4 of the Torbay Elite, trying to catch the likes of Martin and Sai and Dan, not our Dan, but another Dan. And don't get me wrong, whenever Leeds scored, very unfortunate. They were on for a clean sheet. Arsenal, Leeds they were fucking useless. They were utterly useless. Great goal, brilliant goal, but they were hopeless. And Arsenal to score 4 goals, I think that was. They had only scored 6 goals in their previous half of 18, so previous 9 away matches. They'd only scored 6 goals. Well, they scored 4. What's it going to be like for Liverpool? Man City 7 past them. Salah captain locked. Easy. So yeah, it's very interesting from Jace's point of view, and he obviously lost out on that clean sheet. Obviously, from my point of view, the double up, I put out a funny tweet when I saw Cancelo assisting the most easiest goal ever for Man City to make it 1-0. That game, I cannot stand Man City. I fucking cannot fucking stand them. I hate them. They are the most dullest team to watch on the fucking planet. I cannot stand it. Pass. Throw it out to Mahrez. Put it across. Jesus puts it wide. Goalkeeper kicks it out. Pass. You get the idea with that. And I hope I annoy people doing that. See you later if you've just fucked off. And it bores me to death. What I did find quite interesting was that they didn't utilise. So Sterling, I captained Sterling. Sterling was on the left. Mahrez on the right. Everything was going on the right. What a coincidence that once Sterling played on the right for the last 10 minutes, everything went through him. And he popped up and got a goal. He could have had 2 goals. I know Boona, if he's not going to be watching, and him captain, he would have seen exactly the same thing. Twice Sterling had opportunities to score. Now, clearly, I don't know if there was a reasoning as to what maybe Newcastle's left-hand side was their weaker side for Man City to attack down the right. I don't know. But Kevin De Bruyne was absolutely hopeless in that game. Sterling was hopeless in that game for 75 minutes. Jesus had the odd opportunity here or there. Amazing saves from Dubravka. But, yeah, just typical control, domination of the game. I got the score predictor right, which I'm really happy with. I actually did really well. I think I did really well on the score predictor game. I know for a fact I got 4-0. I got really annoyed by the fact that, we'll get onto the game in a minute, Tottenham scoring, because I had 2-1 Liverpool. That really irked me, that, because I thought, oh my God, I'm actually having a really good game week. I'm probably going to find out now I didn't. I had a really good game week this week from what I remember. And, yeah, that one goal, it was really frustrating from son of all people. We'll get onto that in a minute. I know Firetalk's doing really well. Where am I? Great, I've moved up a place. And I didn't do that great. 12 points compared to some 32, 34 for Harbour Boy. Fader Raza getting 27 there. Dara 27. Firetalk 24. So actually I did rubbish. But anyhow, the point being is that that goal from Tottenham really bummed me out there, but whatever. So, yeah, going back to Man City, that goal from Sterling was the most fortunate goal. Because for me, I thought Pep Guardiola was going to substitute him off. He'd done nothing in that game. I was really worried that it would be Mahrez to stay on and then whoever comes on for Jesus and whoever comes on for Sterling. Thankfully not. And, yeah, me and Boona got the goal. Very, very, very fortunate. Indeed. Like I say, I've got the double up of Diaz and Cancelo. So, I got them two in. Sai had Cancelo captain. That goal from Cancelo was just incredible. It's incredible. And funnily enough, I don't know, like Harbour Boy, I know he finds this interesting. Dread FPL finds it interesting, the psychology behind everything. So, I don't know what it is with me. I seem to jinx everything. So, my plan was to stream the Man City game because we had 3 different captaincies from a rivalry point of view. In that, I can't stand doing watch-alongs. I fucking hate them. They are the most boringest things to do on the planet. And if Mags is watching this, who does Radio Techers, at least you got 3 fucking people doing it with you. I'm just by myself. Anyhow. But the point being, though, in this particular game, we had 3 captaincy options. We had Sterling, Cancelo, and Kevin De Bruyne. Now, Kevin De Bruyne was captain not only by Jason, but Firetog. So, I decided to go, do you know what? I'm not doing it. Forget it. It ain't happening. Because I'm going to jinx Sterling. Kevin De Bruyne is going to show up. And I'm going to lose a clean sheet. So I just thought, forget it. So I'm lying in my bed and... what's the word I'm looking for? Mags, you're normally a clever lad if you're watching. It's not jinx, it's the opposite way around. It's not tradition. But I never watch matches with the commentary on. I just listen to a podcast. It's either the XFM shows or it's the Lost podcast that I'm listening to. And I was listening to the Lost podcast. Whenever I listen to something, action always happens. There's always action that happens. And yeah, so I just chose to listen into whatever podcast I was listening to. You just said the Lost podcast, didn't you? Yeah. So we had that goal, and then we had, I think it was 2-0 by half time, whatever. But yeah, I don't seem to jinx myself if I just don't do anything, basically. Then I thought to myself, do I stream the second half? And I thought, I just can't be bothered. So it's not particularly nice sitting in this bedroom. It is, in fact, you know what? Oh, it won't work, will it? It won't work. But I kind of want to show you how small this room is. It is tiny. This chair is horrific to sit in. I can't sit in it properly. That's the only way I can sit in it comfortably. The problem is that the sound is rubbish. So I got to lean all the way forward like this. It's not particularly nice. Anyhow, and I just thought to hell with it, I ain't doing the second half. And like I say, I just saw the Sterling goal and I was just like, all right, cool, no problem at all. So then I was like, oh, wait a minute, the Chelsea game happened. I completely forgot about that. Of course it ended 0-0. As I said on stream, it's going to either end 0-0 or 1-0 to Chelsea. Ended 0-0. Surprise, surprise, Alonso comes through with 3 bonus points. And again, thanks to Trigger Lips, I find out that he was the most useless player on the pitch. But gets 3 bonus points, which just irked me again. And then we had the Liverpool game, which was absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. Phenomena. I was just amazed at what I was watching. I was expecting that game to be really tight. I predicted 2-1 to Liverpool. I said if there is going to be a winner, it's going to be Liverpool. It's like Tottenham needed that break. I've never seen him so energetic. I've seen Tottenham this season 4 times. Every time I've had to turn off because it is absolutely abysmal. Kane was never up front. He was just a centre-back. The only player that seemed to look like he could do anything was Son. Reguilon's another pain in the arse. But he wasn't playing. Comes on though, of course. Which again irked me because Jason... Oh yeah, I can swear, can't I? He fucking had him. So Jason had him. That's an extra point. But yeah, that team yesterday was like I said, the Pochettino team just hit on the counter, hit on the counter, hit on the counter. Brilliant. Liverpool were just... I love Liverpool. The difference between Liverpool and City is they just do 3 passes and shoot. It's great. It's just shoot on sight. And that Trent Alexander-Arnold. Oh, just wonderful. Wonderful. Should Kane have been sent off? Yeah. Should Robertson have been sent off? Yeah. He didn't. Robinson did. Done and dusted. Would that have changed the game? No, because at the end of the day, it was Alisson that made that. I just looked at it and I was just like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Obviously, he did just an awful error. Son, of course, pops up and scores. He's someone I'm going to be looking at to bring in for Mason Mount or Jota. One of the two. I don't know which one yet. It'd be one of the two. Because obviously Firmino's back now. Does that mean Jota then goes onto the bench and whatnot? I don't know. But, yeah. But owning Trent is just an absolute... I don't know what steroids he's taking at the moment, but he is a freak of nature. And, yeah, I'm, like a lot of people, very, very happy that I own him. Very happy that I got on him very, very early. Salah, I did say in the stream that I think they'll match. I said he'd match Sterling. He was anonymous. I don't even remember him even touching the ball. He was useless. Jota, beautiful header. Absolutely fantastic header. Was it a Trent cross as well or a Robertson cross? I think it was a Robertson cross, wasn't it? I can't remember now. No, it was a Trent cross, of course, because it was 3-3. Yeah, 3 points, 3 points, and then to make it 7. Yeah, great goal. And, I mean, moving forward with my team, I can't even bother to talk about that just as of yet. So, yeah, that's me. Done. Shall I just quickly see, after half an hour, let's just quickly see who's here. Quickly say hello. Oh, Dan's here. Dan's here. He's been doing a program to sharpen his eyesight. Is that Trent, is it? Cage Pap saying, I don't think Bobby will play 90 minutes first game back, so Jota should still get some points. Good Lord, Manchester Reds is here. Christ almighty. What do we owe the pleasure? How were the burgers? They were crap. They weren't that great. They were terrible. Oh, Mags, is it? Kane was decent and Son was... Yeah, Kane looked like he was an actual striker for once. Actually looked like a striker. Hello, March. Robertson was the goal and assist. Yeah, that's right, yeah. Karma Baby's here. Denver's here. Youssef saying with captain and Son over Salah next game week being insane. Who have Tottenham got? I don't have a clue. Superstition, that's the one. Kick your ass. Yeah, Gav P saying Sterling is doing a good enough job jinxing himself. He doesn't need extra curricular Steve-O jinx. He won't score for weeks. Well, he's been scored. To be fair, he's missed one game. One game. And prior to that, he was doing all right. He's getting back on form and stuff. But so, looking at the most important league for me, the Torbay Elite League, and more specifically, Cy Bellamy. Cy's had a stormer. Cy had a fantastic week, as you can see there with the Cancelo pick of captaincy. He brought in Lacazette, I think it was. If I can just bring it up on my screen. I think it was just Lacazette he brought in this week. Obviously returned with a 5 point. Did he do a -4? Oh, he did a -4. Right, okay. And his transfers were... If it loads up. Listen to this. This is mad. Livramento and Vardy out for Lacazette and Cancelo captain. Couldn't have worked out any better. It was just that Smith friggin' row coming through. Like I say, very frustrating. See that. That question about Tottenham and Son. Who are they playing? Crystal Palace. I think the answer is madness. Yeah, I think Crystal Palace are no mugs. They can do a job if they really want to. They can. I mean, who am I? Who am I to say no? Yeah, do it. Just do the Sun captaincy. It's got nothing to do with me. It's like when Andy gets really pissed off. It's so funny. It's so... What I find fascinating about live streaming, I take the piss about being like Monday Night Wars and everything like this and a laugh, but the reality is the people that watch this are just hardcore supporters of the show. We don't accommodate for casuals, and it's just so funny that because Andy is for the casuals, and he's got anywhere between 4,000 to 10,000 people watching him. And he's this is why I love watching Andy or listening to Andy streams, because they're like this, really. They're just casual chats. And it's just so funny when someone has the audacity to write in and say words to the effect of, you told me that I should do this transfer and captain that player. And Andy just goes, hold on a minute. No, I didn't. You may have asked a question about X, Y, and Z, but you take my advice for face value. I'm just suggesting. It's like Mr. Reed when he fucking messaged me and he said, thanks for your advice, messaging me, telling me to captain Kevin De Bruyne. Well, just hold on a second there. It ain't my fucking fault that Kevin De Bruyne doesn't show up. He did jack shit. They scored 4 goals, he did nothing. That ain't my problem. But they scored 4 goals. I've always said this, if a team scores highly and you've got a player that's an attacking player in that team and they don't score in that particular fixture that you've got them in for, I think you should just get them gone. I normally do it. But anyhow, the point being though is it's just so funny when I just see Andy just go mad about, and I'm just on his side all the time. I'm constantly on his side. It just fascinates me. What's this got to do with Cy Bellamy's team? Nothing. absolutely nothing. But yeah, very unfortunate with Bernardo. He was another player yesterday. Lots of players in that Man City team, quite anonymous. I think I saw more of Rodrigo than I actually did of Kevin De Bruyne. But yeah, so Sai just outstanding there. And then if we look at Jason's team, like I say, unfortunately, he's had an absolute stinker this game week. -8. So what's that off 33? 25 points Jace got. Awful. His transfers were... I mean, this is the biggest kick in the bollocks for Jace. And again, I don't blame someone for doing this. It was... Oh, please just go down. Son out for Kevin De Bruyne, captain. Watkins in for whoever. And Tierney in for whoever. And it has completely backfired. It has absolutely backfired. Surprise, surprise, his captaincy that he did last week, Sterling, comes through this week. Tierney conceding that goal. Kevin De Bruyne doing nothing. He's lucky he had Jota. And he's only just recently brought in Trent as well, remember. Only just recently brought him in. His team is he said it himself, it's a mess. Here you are, Mags, if you're watching. You're a mess, woman. Look at those flies around. I mean, his bench, Manquillo, Alan Davis. I mean, his first 11 ain't too bad. A Brighton goalkeeper, great. Reguilon, brilliant pick. Trent and Tierney. I suppose he has to play a 4-4-2. So Livramento, he's somebody that I want to get gone. Salah, obviously no comment. Sterling, I think for fixture-wise, he's fine. Keep him in. Not an emergency, really, to be getting rid of. You know, Leicester, Brentford, great next two fixtures. Jota, you know, again, just keep an eye on Firmino at the moment. But De Bruyne, nothing wrong with him. But the problem with De Bruyne is that I've said it for years, and I'll continue saying this. De Bruyne only shows up at home. Away from home, yes, he can pop up with the odd goal or assist, but normally it's at home when he seems to do most of the damage. Usually, I remember years ago when I always kept banging on about the fact that if Kevin De Bruyne's at home against the likes of, say, Burnley, Brighton, Norwich, just captain him. Well, this season he's had 4 goals. 2 of them were in that Leeds victory at home. Burnley at home, a goal. And then, ironically, Liverpool of all teams away from home. He got a goal in that. But he's got Leicester up next. Again, great fixture. Ironically, I mean, I wouldn't captain him in that, but he's probably a decent captaincy pick, really. But there's just no real form being shown from him whatsoever. So yeah, unfortunately, it's just one of those where Jason's just in an absolute mire at the moment. And then moving on to the Rivals League, which is what the majority of people are interested in. So yeah, it's the same old faces at the top. I haven't actually looked at the Rivals League. Let's just quickly see. So we've still got the same guy at top. I'm sure this is Sniper King. He's still got a healthy lead at the top. What's that? 15 points clear of Lino. So 63 points, 66 points. John Harris. Look at that. They've all stayed the same. John Harris 3rd. JC 4th. Joe Nicholson has moved up to 5th. It's so tight. 4th downwards. 1186, 1185, 1179, 1178, 1176. There's Wayne Dean there. Oh, you're 20. Oh, interesting. You're 20 titles, are you? Oh, right. I've never known that until now. Julio 2-foot's there. Where did Firetog's drop? There's Maestro there. Stex is there. Treadwell's dropped down. 49 points. Treadwell seems to be like me. Has one good game week and then has another bad, and then he has a bad game week. Unfortunately for him. Oh, here we go. The same old. We always hear this. No weak foot saying I'd be second if I was in the Rivals League. Well, why don't you join then? Congratulations to FPL Steak and Wine. You've been a member for 16 months. Again, do you come on here as a different name? I do not really. You've been a member for 16 months. I don't even recognise the name. Blimey. Sun Kane double up. Very interesting in the next few game weeks. I'm monitoring that at the moment. I'm monitoring the Sun and Kane as it stands right now. See how they get on against... I've completely forgotten who it was. Who are they playing again? Crystal Palace. I think give them that game. See how they do in that. And if it's like 3 or 4, then it's alright. Let's jump on them now. But again, the way to do well at FPL is, of course, doing the usual thing of... whatchamacallit? Getting ahead of the curve, as they say. Morning, Harbour Boy. Why did I mention you a minute ago, Harbour Boy? There was a reason why I mentioned you a few minutes ago. I can't remember now, but this is top of the league as it stands right now of the Rivals League. It's a beautiful team. It's an absolute beauty of a team there. If I'm in his shoes, I'm getting rid of Bernardo, get him gone. I think you can upgrade him to... I think if you've got the cojones, and if you can, maybe downgrade a Chelsea defender and upgrade Bernardo to Son and downgrade Alonso to some Semiscus. I don't know. That's right. Cheers. Score predictor, that's right. But yeah, Ramsdale, Alonso, James, Trent, Cancelo, Tierney, Rafinha. One of the few people that have got Rafinha. One of the very few people that have got Rafinha. And then you look at Lino here. He was somebody that brought in Watkins this game week. Again, Lino plays it very, very safe. He's a safe manager. You can tell by his team, but this is why these people are top. He doesn't have to go for those differentials. Unfortunate with the Foden, Ramsdale, James, Alonso, Trent, Cancelo, Rafinha, Salah. You know, those first 7 top spots got, and then we've got Jota, Foden, Smith Rowe, and Watkins and differentials. But as I just said, Watkins and Foden didn't even play. John Harris, he's like I say, he's doing really well. He's doing exceptionally well at the moment. And that's not his team. Well, this is 4th spot. This is JC. He's there. Again, all the same players. No real difference. I mean, how many do you have this week? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 8 players playing like me. Like I say, I just found this particular game week not really worth doing that hit. Although ironically, a lot of players scored the points. Here's John Harris's team here. Beautiful. 5-4-1 for this game week. Guaita could be an issue, unlikely, but look at that back 5, the power 5, and then just a beautiful midfield. And he's got Ronaldo on the bench. That's ridiculous. So Ronaldo were coming for Dalot, and then he's got a 4-4-2. Such a stunning team. Such a beautiful team that is. Chris Tinson saying, I've just realised my last 4 games have been green arrows. I think mine are more green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red. It's all topsy-turvy for me every single bloody game week. So, but yeah, these guys are just performing so well at the moment. So well. It's just going to be fascinating to see. I mean, my team at the moment, that's the team for game week Boxing Day. You got De Gea in goal, Cancelo, James. I'm keeping this team as it is. I don't need to make any transfers unless news comes out about X, Y, and Z teams not playing, which, again, I think there could be a possibility. James is somebody that I'm considering getting rid of, but at the moment it's not a fire. Annoyingly, the games which I brought in Watford strikers, Dennis and King, the easier fixtures, which were, of course, Burnley, and it doesn't even show me here. Brilliant. There's Burnley and someone else, and they were cancelled. It's definitely Burnley, wasn't it? I'm sure it was. But that game against Wolves, 0-0. Dennis and King are doing nothing in that particular fixture. Like I say, Watkins against Chelsea, I really do see Aston Villa winning that game. I really do. Sterling don't need to do anything with. Jota, Salah, Mount. Doesn't bother me. All the players are fine enough for this particular game week. And then, obviously, we've got the midweek fixtures. Where at this point, Spurs up against Southampton. As Top Tim may collaborate or whatever with me. Southampton are absolutely useless at the moment. They've got no players or anything. That could be the game to target Spurs double up. And that's the midweek. But will those fixtures take place? I don't know. But you've got Man United against Burnley. Brilliant fixture for Ronaldo captaincy. Liverpool are... I can't even see them. Oh, Leicester. Liverpool-Leicester away. I think that's a great fixture for Salah. Brentford-Man City. Great fixture for the likes of Sterling, Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah, it's a great game week for potential differential captaincies. Like you say with Son. Son away at Southampton. Kane against Southampton. Great fixtures there. But certainly for game week, for Boxing Day, you can't look past Salah versus Leeds. Any other standout captaincies? Ronaldo away at Newcastle, possibly. As just mentioned, Tottenham, Spurs, Son or Kane up against Crystal Palace, possibly. Man City against Leicester, no, not really worth captaincy. I think it's just stating the flaming obvious, aren't I? Liverpool. So yeah, it's going to be a strange game week. You reckon you'll draw with Spurs? Top Tim. You reckon you'll draw with Spurs? I think you... Wow. Did you not see the way Spurs were playing yesterday? Jesus Christ. There are some freaks that watch live streams. Live stream. Again, I keep saying this. I find live streaming fascinating because essentially you're live, and I'm always... It's like when FPL Dare, he was live this morning, and it's... to use the terminology from WWE, anything can happen live. Anything can happen live. And I just find it fascinating, like just... Dan always says it a lot, actually, regarding live streaming. It's almost like you're an individual keeping whoever's listening company. And like I always say, I always find it really cool listening to live streams when I'm driving or going out for a walk or something. It's why I love it when I see the likes of Andy doing a live stream. I remember when I kind of actually first listened to FPL Dare's live stream. And like I say, I find it fascinating because I do it. But like I said, the people that watch these are just hardcore viewers that invest in myself and Jason and our characters. These guys, they're there for the casuals. And they've got, like, in FPL Dare's case, anywhere between 300 to 500 people watching. But it just fascinates me when I couldn't give... Like, I've said this 1,000 times. I couldn't give two stuffs about the classic. In fact, Andy said it on his own stream. He said, and this isn't a quote, but he was like, to be honest, I find it more interesting talking about anything but FPL. Because there's only so many times that you can answer the same question over and over, which is true. And it's just so fascinating hearing these guys talking about everyday things. Like, it was, when I tuned into FPL Dare, he was talking about whether he should stream the Tottenham game. It was Tottenham versus whoever it was. I can't remember what it was now. It was definitely Tottenham. And he was just talking to himself, and he was just saying, look guys, just stay tuned to us doing I may do it, I may not, but the problem is that, and he just went through like a scenario that happens in his life, and I was just like, it's just genuinely fascinating. It's why, like, I always find it brilliant. I don't know if Mags is still here, but listening to Bang Bang podcast and Chain Wrestling podcast, and if Maestro's here listening in, I saw that you replied to their tweet earlier. I mean, admittedly, I was looking at this at 3 o'clock in the morning, but it was about their best and worst TV shows at Christmas or films at Christmas. But the first, their show is like 2 hours long, and it's supposed to be about a specific wrestling match. They spend an hour and a half just chatting about whatever the subject matters may be regarding the favourite TV show, favourite food, funniest drunk stories. I find it so invigorating and just encapsulates me. And I'm just there, like, just chatting along with them and stuff and just going, yeah, and laughing aloud and everything. Same with Bang Bang Podcast. I find it just brilliant just listening in and hearing Andy just talking about the most random conversations like possible, but they're just brilliant to listen to. I couldn't care less that they're not covering some WWE pay-per-view from 1997 or whatever. It's not that. It's the chat in between that fascinates me. People love it. People absolutely bloody love it. And, yeah. Why are you talking about that, Steve? Just that, mate. So, anything else to say before I clear off, basically? Lewis is saying, I'm listening while I'm leveling up. Oh, really? That's interesting. That's really interesting. Because I don't know if anybody... I don't know if you know... So I'm assuming this is through Warzone. And this guy that I watch, which is the equivalent of us, SoCal, I watch him all the time because he's another one which doesn't appeal to the casuals. He's somebody that's like proper into like doing really well. He's number four in the world for wins. Number 4. Think about that. He's coming up to 4,000 wins in Warzone. It is amazing to watch. And I've been watching him now for, I think it's been since last year. So I've been watching it now for about a year and a half. Ironically, very similar to Davey FPL. The reason why I was dragged into him is because of the title of the stream. It was like, with Davey FPL, it was like the top 1,000 in the world, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing. I just followed his journey when Davey came, what was it, 22nd or something in the world? Whereas SoCal, it's like I'm now following his journey to see if he can become number one. But the problem is that he is, I think it's 100 wins behind third spot. Now this guy streams every single day. He does 10 hours worth of streaming. So he's playing Call of Duty for 10 hours. And he's brilliant. And again, just another one that it just fascinates me live streaming, because they just, like I say, anything can happen live. You can just chat like this nonsense. And people like yourself that are just listening in while playing Call of Duty. It's just, me and Jason always say this, and I know that like Bang Bang and Chain Wrestling say exactly the same thing. UTT, Unbooking the Territory. Oh my! They always make this point that I just can't believe, like, there's someone doing something so normal and listening to nonsense that we're waffling on about. Because like I say, we keep you guys company, so to speak. And like I say, I do take this game very, very seriously. Very seriously. And I always say this whenever I see on Twitter, well, it's not really on Twitter, it's usually on YouTube. Whenever I see on the YouTube comment sections on specifically Trigger Lips, because he's pretty much the only one I watch or listen to, I just find it so funny when people write into him and they say, I think you need to take a rain check, you take this game too seriously. So why are you watching his stuff then? Like, he only appeals to certain people. And again, it ain't going to be to the casual fans. It's going to be to people that like want to hear somebody say that guy's a prick because of whatever the circumstances may be. It's fantastic because you relate with him, and that's what's so fun about doing these streams. And if people do podcasts, you listen to it because you relate to the people. It's why I'm not going to name certain podcasts. And again, it's got nothing to do with fantasy football. Because like I said, I don't even listen to fantasy football. It's just the odd one here or there. But certain podcasts that cover certain things, I cannot stand it. I detest it when they come out with the line, we've been going on for an hour and a half now. I think we're going to have to stop. Why? I'm not being funny, but the reason why you're doing this show is because it's so niche. The only people that are going to listen to this are going to be the most hardcore, dedicated fans of that show. They will listen to you for 6 hours. Like, I'll give you an example, actually. So, the Lost podcast I listen to, fantastic. And their average episode is 2.5 hours long. They're brilliant. They're so insightful. And the latest one I'm listening to, they're covering, I'm only at the end of series 1 for this particular podcast, and they're covering parts 1, 2 and 3 of the ending of series 1. They did a podcast for 5 hours. 5 hours. Now, they could just go, yeah, we'll just cover it in an hour and a half. Well, that's great, but you've kind of glossed over everything. People that are listening to your show, what, you really think that you're going to be having Joe Rogan-like figures? You really think that you're going to have hundreds of thousands of people listening? No one cares. The only people that care are the people that actually care about the product that you're doing, which ended 15 years ago. There's only a small amount of people that are going to be listening in. So just talk forever. Stop glossing over things. Yeah, I don't, like one podcast that I listen to, and ironically, I really like it. They talk about a particular TV show, and they just go, "Oh, I could talk about this subject matter for hours." Do it then. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I've got an idea, because seeing as you do a Patreon. Seeing as you have the audacity to do a Patreon, I've got an idea. Why don't you do a 3-hour podcast about this particular character? Because people like me want to listen to it because it's fascinating, and that's what draws me into paying for a Patreon or any form of subscription. Is because if I believe in the product, because they're giving me what I want. don't fucking gloss over it. I remember one particular podcast. I think I may have done this on a members video. I was so angry at the time because it was so offensive. They did a Twitter live, and this was when they were kind of like, they've been doing the podcast for 4 or 5 years, and they were doing a live stream on Twitter, and they had 6 people listening. Okay? Now this is before Twitter Spaces. So they were doing a Twitter live. There were 6 people watching. I was one of them. And it was a very, very interesting conversation about what direction they're taking the podcast, what they're going to be doing in future, what they're going to be... This is before they did a Patreon. What they're going to be doing with Patreon. I was like, this is just brilliant. This is so interesting because it's a niche show. Hardly anybody's going to be interested in this. And I'm one of the few people that are listening to this live. This is great. And I was in my room, actually, funny enough. I was just doing stretching, exercise, all that nonsense. Because it was during it was during lockdown. And I was listening in. And they were like, oh, if anybody wants to ask us some questions, we'll answer some questions. Yep, fine, no problem. I'll happily ask some questions about this show. Brilliant. I'd love to hear about your thoughts on X, Y, and Z. Did they read them out? No. Did they even acknowledge my existence? No. And then they had the audacity to say, we've hardly got anybody really watching. I just don't think anybody's that interested. And yeah, no one's really asking us any questions. I think we'll just end it. I'm just thinking, at that point, I kind of lost particular faith with them. I was just like, do you know what? You're just a pair of sellouts. You're just a pair of sellouts. Like, don't get me wrong. You could argue right now, well, hold on a minute, Steve, over here. I'm trying to interact with you, but you're doing nothing. As I've explained on members videos now, really it's very, very difficult these days to interact because, as you're probably aware, I could talk for hours on end to myself. And if, as I've said a million times, if people want to listen in, they listen in. If they don't, see you later. I've had that attitude since day one, and I've got that attitude in life as well. If you don't want to know me, I couldn't care less. Not my problem. But don't make out that I'm the one that's in the wrong here, just because essentially you don't want to know me. So because I've got the attitude with you, because you don't want to know me, you then put it upon me that I'm the arsehole rather than... Yeah, anyway. And yeah, and me and Jason have always made this point that we are now finding it. We've always said this, that the more people that interact on the chat and stuff, the more difficult it becomes interacting. It's a fact. I remember specifically stating this, that when we first started doing this properly, we said that we are going to try and continue trying to interact with people and stuff, etc., etc. But it just becomes impossible. And what I've also noticed is that the second I choose to look at the chat, I just completely go off subject matter, and I actually annoy myself. Sometimes it's very rare that I do, but I occasionally listen back for research purposes to be like, right, this is where I went right, this is where I went wrong, this is what I should have done, this is what I shouldn't have done, blah, 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 blah. And what I noticed with me is that, yeah, I do a lot of tangents, I'm not going to lie. I go off on about 1 million tangents, I get it. But what frustrates me is I'll be listening into myself talking about whatever it may be, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, yeah, you're right there, so-and-so. I completely agree, and then I've completely lost my trail of thought. So, but yeah, it's just becoming very, very difficult to keep up with. You know, there's like, 50 people watching, and there's like about 10 people, well, actually more than that, isn't it? It's about 20, 25 people commenting or whatever. But the chat is just like, just constant. And the reality being is that if I was to be here all day reading the chat and stuff, you know, I wouldn't be able to talk about the so-called subject matters had. Hence why the Rivals League that we've done is a great talking point, because it's our way of kind of like talking about you and your teams. And I always find, like I say, I always find it, I always do, like, I try and do once a week a members video where I look at the top 4 teams in kind of some form of detail. and I kind of like essentially just try and work out what kind of strategy they've got moving forward, which players they're going to bring in, how they could hold the lead, what they don't need to do, what they do need to do, and so on and so forth. I find that really, really interesting. It's a nice way of just, like I say, kind of like getting people involved and stuff. And I know that what's his face, Llama was saying it on his show the other day on the Game Week, and with Trigger Lips, and they were talking specifically about, just for like 2 minutes, it wasn't like a long segment or whatever, but they were talking about like the fact that independent shows are sometimes, if not the best shows, like the unofficial channels are the best ones, because there's human to them. They're not, and it is true, that we're not trying to, well, take money essentially. And Trigger Lips just nailed it on the head. You know, he just nailed it on the head with what he was saying about independent shows versus the paid shows. And I've seen the difference once money takes over. Again, I'm not going to name them, but a particular very, very large show, they specifically said, we're not doing it for the money, da-da-da-da-da. The second they realised, oh, we got something special here, monetize. Right, what we're going to do is we're only going to answer super chats. Right, fine. Oh, now we're going to put adverts on our YouTube video. We're going to do them every 5 minutes. It's dark. It's dark. And you're like, well, hold on a minute here. When you first started, it was really interesting. Really fascinating listening to what you were having to say. Now you've sold out, and now you just sound like every other paid podcast, stream, video. And again, from my personal point of view, doesn't interest me. Doesn't interest me in the slightest, because it's just the same generic bollocks. It's the same generic bollocks. Like I keep saying this. How many times can me and Jason, for instance, talk about Salah being the best captaincy against Leeds? There's only so much you can say. You know, it just gets a bit flat after a while. And once you've heard it once, and you're essentially hearing your own thought processes coming out, but from a bigger voice, it's just weird. It is just weird, yeah. I don't know. Oh yeah, the Super Cup. Yeah, we have got information. We are going to be having, in fact, ironically, me and Jason wanted to do Super Cup chat tonight, but we can't because Jason isn't here. So there will be information coming up regarding the Super Cup. So just essentially stay tuned, but we can confirm that there are things happening behind the scenes regarding the Super Cup and everything. It's going to be very, very interesting. Good. Well, there we are. The Trigger Lips is in the Super Cup. Good. I know Andy is. I know Disable is. I know Trigger Lips. I know Harry is. Who else off the top of my head? Suj is. FPL Dare. JNO. They're just off the top of my head. I'm not personally dealing with it, to be honest with you. Chris Tinson saying, I always found that adding things like Patreon allows for a channel to... Are they really? Mark and Az are in it. Ha! I'll be slagging them off then. That gives me permission to slag them off then, Fire Talk. You can clip that. You can clip that. Fergie's in it. Good. Yeah, I always found it that adding things like Patreon allows for a channel to make money without it damaging the quality of the videos these people produce. The problem that I find, though, Chris Tinson, and again, without wanting to sound like a hypocrite, and I'm sure I do sound like a hypocrite, is the simple fact that I find that, and again, I am not even applying this to fantasy football, I'm just applying this to anything in general, is I never know what, this is from my personal point of view regarding Elite FPL. I never know what people want from our point of view anyway, memberships and all that stuff, like what they want. Now, we took, without wanting to say the same anecdote again, but Firetog was the one that, and it fucking, oh my god, it absolutely hit me like a sledgehammer to the head when Firetog just said, because like I said, I respect his opinion and everything, and I value his loyalness, his loyalty, his loyal highness, his loyalty to the show. And he just went in to moderate me, and I'm thinking of giving up my membership because it's just not worth the money. I don't know what I'm paying for. We don't get any additional videos or anything. And I thought, you know what, you're right. You're right. Obviously, circumstances change. I mean, when we did the membership, I can't even know why we did it, to be honest with you. You know, well, I suppose, I mean, again, circumstances change a lot. A hell of a lot. Mine and Jason's circumstances, I mean, ironically, it's for the better for our lives. It's for the better that this whole corona thing happened, because if it wasn't for this, you know, certain positions in my job role wouldn't have come up, so I wouldn't have taken them, etc., etc. I wouldn't have been promoted, and so on and so forth. Likewise for Jason. Now he's self-employed and stuff, and doing very, very well for himself. These opportunities wouldn't have arisen if it wasn't for the coronavirus, which happened coming up to 3 years. just absolutely mad. 3 years. But anyhow, but prior to that, we were like thinking, you know what we could do? We may potentially be able to like sort out better equipment for Steve-O, which means the quality of the show will be better. And then we were even talking like green screens for me and everything. And I was always arguing the point, well, it's great, but practical wise for in here, it's impossible. But you never know, if we make some money from this, I'll happily give it a go and stuff. And it just doesn't work out like that, unfortunately. And yeah, then when Jason discovered like the membership stuff and everything, it was like, shall we do it? Shall we not? We were just like, yeah, just see what happens. And we did it. But yeah, so after Fire Talks, like words of not words of warning, I can't even think of the line now, but true a word or whatever it is. I was just like, do you know what? Let's just make members videos. Try and do like 1 a week, 2 a week, possibly. And like I say, I try and encourage the members to, via the Discord, just like sending questions or whatever. But I think it's just got to the stage now where like people are just happy to support channels like us and various other channels. They can see that we're, like I said, doing it for the love of the game. Like I say, ironically, any money we make, which again, we make nothing for ourselves, we put it back into this. We put it into, like I said, without wanting to repeat myself, we put it into the website, hence why we can play the Score Predictor game, and so on and so forth. We put it into the Discord, hence why the Discord is so successful and why it runs so smoothly, because we've got a brilliant team of moderators, and we've paid for various things that allows us to access other things, which makes it easier for everybody. It's why our Discord is so active. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant to see. All the money goes into that, and we'd like to think like the people that do happily pay for memberships and stuff see that we do things for you guys, which helps out everybody and makes the experience a lot more better. And like I say, we try and involve as many of you guys as possible. Yeah, like I say, unfortunately, due to life changing and everything, it's very difficult for people like myself now to just stream whenever I want. It's very difficult for Jason to stream whenever he wants. It's very difficult for us to even get together. Very, very difficult. Like I say, tonight was the potential prime opportunity for us to stream together, but unfortunately, again, due to circumstances, we couldn't. So, yeah. I always do the line, Gabriel de Rop. Hey, Harbour Boy saying he's listening out while I'm on the run and use a bit of data to listen. Are you on Earth? I suppose you can't. I didn't realise. For goodness sake, Harbour Boy, that you can actually do on for free. I'm not talking about premium, but for free, you can speed up YouTube videos. I did not know that. I thought that was only a premium option, because when you kept talking about, I listened to you, when you said you listened to us at 1.5, I'm thinking, right, do you pay for premium or something? And the answer is no, it's actually there. Chris saying, as a member myself, I chose to do so to support whatever content is made. Yeah, and again, it's like I say, I'm like that with certain people as well. I want to do it to support those individuals. I'm not really wanting additional content, but for certain people or for certain shows, when they promise certain things, or for certain shows when they come out with stuff like, yeah, we're going to do a Patreon for, and I'm thinking, but that's not Patreon worthy. I don't quite understand why you set up a Patreon for that. Who do you... Steve Merchant says, who do you think you are? Gory Dove is saying, I'm watching on a tablet. You're watching this on a tablet while I'm... What you're making? Ramanathan saying, there are some good managers in the Super Cup. They're nice. I would expect more when there's a big team working on something. Oh, yeah. Christ. There are some out there which absolutely make a hell of a lot of people behind the scenes and everything. Mark Goldbridge. Mark Goldbridge. Right. I think I'm going to end it there. I have no idea what I've even spoken about. Again, utter nonsense. But, yeah, appreciate all you guys that have tuned in since the start and who have tuned in the last whenever. That's been cool. And, yeah, don't quote me on this. Do not quote me on this. Steve-O said there's a chance, unlikely, but there's a small chance that Jason may, again, unlikely, I'd probably put it at about 10-15%. Jason could stream tomorrow. So Jason could be streaming tomorrow. If not, we will be back on, well, it'll be Friday, won't it? Yeah, it'll be Friday. Oh no, I suppose that's Christmas Eve. Yeah, Friday. So it'll be Christmas Eve. Bloody hell, that's crazy. Yeah. So it'll be Christmas Eve when we'll be next back doing the score predictions, if there's any games going ahead, which, again, no idea whatsoever. If there are, we'll do it in our usual stream on Thingy. And then, yeah, just stay tuned on Twitter and Discord, really. Discord mainly. The link's in the description. So, right. So the Super Cup draw is happening this week. Because the Super Cup starts this Sunday officially. But the problem is that if it doesn't start this Sunday because the games are postponed, then... yeah, we never know. But yes, there will be a draw at some point this week. So Jason will definitely then have to stream. He'll have to stream, and I'm sure Fire Talk will be involved. And I will be listening the following day. I'll definitely be listening the following day to that, no matter what. So that'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, just stay to the olden Discord for information on that, and obviously on Twitter at Elite FPL for all things moving forward. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and yeah, I'll see you soon.